To dress this pattern, I'm using an Airex dry fly traditional barbless hook. For the silk, I'm using a vintage spool of yellow Purcells. For the dubbing, I'm using Water Rat, which is this here. You can see the brown guard hairs here on the Water Rat fur, which is completely different to a mole fur which doesn't have those guard hairs. For the hackle, I'm using an undercover feather from a woodcock. For the head, I'm using a strand of peacock herl. And for the finishing off thread, I'm using black citron thread. To start the fly, come in with your tying silk and simply catching the silk a couple of millimeters back from the eye of the hook with 5 or 6 nice tight turns. Snip off the waist end and now bring your silk down the hook shank to a point somewhere between the point of the hook and the end of the barb. This is quite a long shanked hook, so I'm going to finish it just about here. Now pinch a small bit of Water Rat fur and just simply twist it on to your silk. If you have too much, you can just tease it back a bit to give you a nice sparse dubbing. Once you're happy with the amount of dubbing, come over your tying silk and now take tight touching turns back up the body of the fly. Something like that. If you got too much fur on, you can simply come in with your fingers and just brush it out. Now, taking our hackle, just expose the tip of the hackle and then come in with your scissors and just trim that tip down to a more manageable length. Mount that onto the hook with 3 or 4 nice tight turns of silk, bringing the silk back towards the eye of the hook. Take your hackle pliers and now just brush those hackle fibres back and start to take your wraps of hackle. Traditionally the flies were quite well hackled, so here I'm going to take 3 turns of hackle. Gives you a nice, robust, bushy looking fly. Once you're happy with the turns of hackle, come in with your tying silk and bind that tag end down with 2 nice tight turns. Now with your scissors, trim off the waist end of stalk and any hackle fibres that are just splaying out. Take another couple of turns of silk just to make sure you bound it down. And now with the finishing thread, just catch it in directly in front of the eye and now come back and catch in that existing tying silk. Take your scissors and trim off the existing silk and tag. And now come in with your peacock herl, trim off that brittle end of the tip and now bind it down onto the hook with 5 or 6 nice firm wraps of citron thread. Take your peacock herl in your fingers and now start to form the head of the fly. I like a nice pronounced head, so I'll take 5 or 6 good turns of peacock herl. Once you're happy with the size of the head, come in with your cintron thread, trap down that stalk of peacock herl, take your scissors and trim off the waste end. Now bring in your whip finish tool and now form a compact, invisible whip finish in front of the head of the fly. Tighten him up, come with your scissors and cut the thread. Give the eye hook a ping with your finger just to separate the barbs, and there we have William Robinson's Thorn Dun Small.